Hello Cancer, this is your forecast for November 2021 and it is beautiful because we are awake again. Jupiter and Saturn and also Pluto now, they are fully in function, moving forward. We're beyond Mercury retrograde, so we're starting to feel that we're amping up, moving forward, doing the things that we've been wanting to do. We might have been doing, but we were kind of held back in this slower tempo. So when we can see we get this extra oomph and this bump to move ahead, we're feeling great. And on top of all that motion, we will talk about where it's showing up in your chart. But I want to mention one of the biggies here this month also is the lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse, but hey, what it's going to do, it's really going to reveal all of your emotional attachments. And I think whatever it is that you've been holding close to heart now can come forward, which is going to be great. And for you, it's in the 11th house, Cancer. So that has to do with your hopes and dreams, but it's also your circle of friends or your social network. So whatever it is that you're going to need to kind of let go of, you know, eclipses, lunar eclipses will remove certain things, but that's good though. It's not something that you need to kind of worry about because you've been thinking about it for so long. You're just getting this extra push now to say, that's it. I'm going to let that go. And it will renew and open up more space for this area to take place so you can start filling it with new things. So that will be there on the 19th. But we want to look at what you can do prior to the 19th, before that lunar eclipse, is to look at the new moon this month, which will be November 4th. And that is showing up in your 5th house. 5th house is all about creativity, your self-expression, but also children. And it's also the romantic side of your life. So your intention should be focusing on this area. What do I want more of? That's what the new moon is about, right? To bring it in and call it forward so you can start these things so they can come in and manifest, and they will manifest faster when you let go by the 19th with the eclipse. Kind of like making more room for this new to come in. So you can actually start preparing for that lunar eclipse on the 4th with your intentions of wanting more creativity, you're wanting more romance. If you're single, you can start calling in that the soulmate or your twin flame and say, hey, I'm ready for this. I'm really, really ready to open my heart and have more of that wonderful, beautiful energy, and then see what that eclipse is going to do. Before you can meet somebody new, maybe you got to let somebody go. Even if you're not with anybody, maybe you've been holding on to somebody mentally or emotionally that's not doing anything for you. So when you can let that go, you can attract the new. So this could become a very magical month. And of course, the month of November is very powerful because it's the month of Scorpio, where we feel deeper emotions, right? Now this new moon on the 4th is important in the sense that it's going to be moving over your Sun and Mars, also in your 5th house, also in that very same area. So you could see how you're going to start off with the feeling of, my goodness, you know, I've been doing this, this, and that for so long right now, but this is where I want to focus. You're going to feel that focus. Think about Mars, though. It's always very, very drifty. You know, it's got all that oomph. It's your energy, it's your ambitions, your goals. And your goals right now is to want to express and take out more of that creativity of who you represent, who you are on the inside, and be dynamic with it. And what is beautiful is that on the 6th, well, the new moon is on the 4th, but on the 6th of November, Mercury is going to join this area, okay? And it's going to follow the footprints of what the Sun and Mars have already done and what the new moon has already done. Mercury is going to come in, and Mercury's communication, how we relate. So what are we going to be communicating? Well, we're going to be communicating more of our emotions and what it is we want to do when we can feel free and playful. The 5th house is all about wanting to feel that inner child, that playfulness that we hold. And so I think for most of you, Cancerians, this is going to be a magical month. It being in the sign of Scorpio while you are Cancer. So that's your sister sign. It's really going to work to your benefit more than most of the other signs. Let me see, I just lost my piece of paper. And then we have Venus that I feel, of course, rules love and money and all that, right? But it's in the 6th house and has been in the 6th house for October. And that has to do with how you feel about yourself physically. Have you started to work out? Did you just change your diet here in October? Maybe that was the forerunner of all of this emotional, romantic energy coming in November. Maybe Venus was intuiting that I want to get in shape for this. And so, yeah, diets can be important. The way you work out, or if you haven't, maybe you're going to start. And if you prompt it early, this is where the Sun and Mars is going to be next month, where you're going to be following up and feeling that you're on top of it. It's more like you're back into your body. You're not just simply in your head thinking I should, or maybe I shouldn't be doing that. You're not just thinking, you're actually physically doing. And when we do, that's when we're feeling really good about ourselves, because it's all embodied, right? And now with Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto all going direct, yes, that is lifting the level of your energy as well. You're starting to see results, whereas for the last 4 to 5 months, not too many results. And that could have been a little bit of a downer, that things were moving slow, but it wasn't all in vain. Why? Because you're going to start seeing that what you were doing before that didn't give you the results, that the results will start trickling in. And I feel what that's going to do for you, Cancer, it's going to be balancing up the scales of your values. Now, money is values, but there's a whole lot more values than just in the material. It's also emotional, it's spiritual, and it's intimate. It's in your 8th house, where you're going to see Jupiter now going to be very abundant, very generous with you, open up new opportunities. Maybe you'll see there's more money coming in as far as royalties, commissions, maybe getting a raise. Maybe some of you will start seeing that your bank account is growing. That could be with investments and so forth. So Jupiter is going to be generous. There might be some really good news that you could be getting there on November 1st, when Mercury and Jupiter are going to be meeting up. So that can deliver some great, wonderful news to you. But Saturn has been here for a while, you know, from top of the year. Slowly, it's kind of working its way through the 8th house. You'll still have it for another 2 years. But Saturn will ground things, give you good roots, good anchors, and saying, hey, I'm on top of this. Even if you felt that you never did like to pay attention to finances and whatnot, that interest is going to wake up in you. It's like, hey, you know, you might find that little magical key, that it's not that dreading or boring. Some of you might really find that, hey, this is exciting, because you're here now to master the area of the 8th house of your values. And so we can say that's in the material, yes. Some of you might find yourself investing to create more money and security for the future, but the 8th house is also the house of intimacy. So you might feel that owning up to it, taking charge of it, not saying control, though Saturn can control too, but owning up to wanting to master the area of intimacy and feeling good about it, Cancer. So we're loving that. So we have that new moon on the 4th. We got the eclipse on the 19th, 27 degrees in Taurus. I feel this month could be a game changer for the long run due to the eclipse and due to how you're seeing your true values in that 8th house and all the planets going on in the 5th house. You're wanting more fun. You're wanting to liberate. You're wanting to free yourself just from the shackles of life. I could see how many of you are opening up to that more interdimensional side of who you are spiritually. And when you do, when you connect to Source, Source is really opening up, bringing in the higher dimensional understanding. You're seeing through the veil easier. And when we do see through the veils, that's when we're cutting through all the illusions. Now, when we're talking about that, we look to Neptune for illusions. A lot of the things that we've learned, or what history has learned us, taught us, is a part of that. And it's like looking beyond, finding higher truths. And of course, Neptune in your 9th house is all about your philosophical, spiritual, religious self. I can see how many of you Cancerians have been digging, and digging under this period of retrograde. So summer and autumn might have been good for you, looking at, whether it's your YouTubes or your TikToks, to kind of figure out what is really going on here. And as you do, just wait for Neptune to open up. Then you're going to be one of the ones going forward and sharing your experiences, your findings out to the world at large. So spirituality is huge. I think it always has been for you, Cancerians, because you're all heart, right? And heart is connected to Source and spirit. But yeah, I think that this is a powerful time for you to look at who you're around in your circle of friends. Now, the eclipse going through the 11th house, like I said, if you need to let somebody go, so be it. Because you're changing. Uranus has been in this area for you for quite a while now. So you've been attracting new people coming in that's more like-minded, and when you work with the frequencies of people who are more like kindred spirits, you grow and expand faster. You're not having to hold everything close to heart because your old friends won't understand a word of what you're saying when you're peeking behind the veil. If they haven't, they won't get where you're coming from. And then you're having to hold it close to heart, and it's the shift between the 3rd dimension and the 5th dimension. So I could see some of you letting go of the 3D connections and opening up now where like-minded, kindred spirits come in, where you can now grow as a group. I think for this reason, this eclipse is going to be super powerful for you. Anyway, that's what I had for you here this month. And I would say go listen to your moon and rising sign, because a lot of what we talked about here is going to show up elsewhere in your chart, giving you even more insight. All right? And I'll see you next time. Bye now.